Nobody likes woke characters. I think this will be interesting. Go woke, go broke.
I criticize some of the stuff in Alan Woke too.
Games that have gotten the same woke treatment.
Video games are going a little too woke.
You guys know that wokeness is everywhere. Hollywood and movies.
What is woke?
Wokeness has invaded our video games, and the woke industrial complex is doing everything it can to try to poison one of my favorite hobbies.
All right, so let's get right into it. As a black, I remember when the term woke simply meant to be enlightened or to be aware of anyone trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Woke to systemic injustice, woke to your partner cheating on you, or even woke to the fact that chip bags are 58% air now. To be woke was to be acutely aware of your environment and your being at all times. Around 2017, something interesting started to happen with the word woke. Post Ferguson and with the inception of Black Lives Matter, the word began to gain more notoriety. Those white allies began to learn the word and take it back to their communities. It was just a matter of time before the right-wing conservatives got a hold of it.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it.
I'm going to my refrigerator and I'm starting to ask the question, well, is this ketchup bottle woke? Is this mustard? I mean, literally.
Lego is going woke. The company unveiling a range of new characters in the effort to be more inclusive.
M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why the change? Well, according to M&M's, quote, we all win when we see more women in leading roles because leading women do not wear sexy boots. Leading women wear frumpy shoes. The frumpier, the better. Woke M&Ms have returned. The green M&M got her boots back, but apparently is now a lesbian maybe. And there's also a plus-sized, obese purple M&M. So we're gonna cover that.
Now, before I continue, I don't identify with American politics anymore because it's a joke. We got a corpse running against a felon. So I view all of this with no inherent bias. So when I say right-wing conservatives have co-opted the word woke to be a catch-all for anything related to social justice, diversity, equity, inclusion, and gender politics, it's a completely neutral opinion. Bad actors and trolls have hijacked the word. They did the same thing with the word thug. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who tore up the place.
The difference between those protests and the thugs who only want to incite violence.
No, of course that's not the right word to call our children thugs. These are children who have been set aside, marginalized, who have not been engaged by us. No, so calling them thugs, just call them. No, we don't have to call them by names such as that.
Hey, Richard, does that bother you more than me?
The only reason it bothers me is because it seems like it's the accepted way of calling somebody the N-word nowadays. You know, it's like everybody else said the N-word, and then they say thug, and they're like, oh, that's fine. And that's where it's kind of, you know, it kind of takes me aback, and it's kind of disappointing because they know what's the definition of a thug, really. There was a hockey game where they didn't even play hockey. They just threw the puck aside and started fighting. I saw that, and I said, oh, man, I'm the thug? What's going on here?
Thug, that term, has been used over and over again recently to describe African-American young men. And so I think that because it has been racialized, it's not a racist term, but because it has been racialized, I think people in power, leadership, have to be very careful with the use of that term.
So what does all this have to do with my favorite two mediums? Video games and film. First off, I'm tired of hearing the damn word woke. Second off, the white people who use the word as a gotcha tell on themselves, we see you, bro, we see you. With all the white guy commentary I seen on Sweet Baby Inc. and Woke Hollywood and the vitriol you all share, it's been an interesting time for me. I've been alive long enough to know that these video game companies in Hollywood are performative. They don't care about social justice, they just care about the bottom line. It's just interesting for me as a black man because it seems to be a lose-lose. Objectors of the woke conspiracy say they don't have a problem with black characters in games as long as they are written properly. So what happens when a character that was planned to be black from the start of a project is written poorly? The character can still feel like a DEI placement. It's a slippery slope.
I just move shit with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow
Move shit with my freaking mind!
So black characters have to be written amazingly for them to be taken seriously and not to feel like a token character. My whole life I've wanted more representation in video games, you know, outside of Madden and 2K. But because of ESG and companies trying to gain more funding to make games, we get characters that feel shoehorned in. And just like real life, black characters have to be twice as good for white audiences to feel like they belong, you know, art imitating life. And now we're on the brink of GamerGate 2. And you know, I realized something in making this video, that I'm not as big of a nerd as I thought, because I had never heard of the original GamerGate. It's really two Americas, bro.
What is GamerGate? Great question. To answer that, we have to go all the way back to August when an angry ex-boyfriend of Zoe Quinn, who's a game developer, made a long blog post accusing her of basically trading sex for good reviews from a game journalist. It's like someone accusing a movie director of sleeping with a film critic just so they can get a good review of their film, which is pretty sketchy. And thus the Quinspiracy was born. So obviously once this story got out, it pissed off a lot of gamers about a perceived lack of ethics in gaming journalism. So they took to the internet, tweeting, vlogging, blogging, and they blew the whole thing up. Eventually, actor Adam Baldwin unified this whole thing under a single name when he tweeted a link to one of these vlogs with the hashtag GamerGate. A lot of the anger has been directed towards Quinn, who's not even a journalist, and she's received so many death threats that she actually had to flee her home. And she's not alone. Gators are attacking women who have pointed out misogyny in gaming. Feminist commentator Anita Sarkeesian and game developer Brianna Wu have received over 74,000 tweets since September 1st, and even Felicia Day got doxxed just for saying the words GamerGate.
Like I said earlier, both sides are kinda insufferable. I wasn't gonna speak on this, but I felt compelled to. Not enough actual black people are saying anything. I thought that diversity would be a good thing, but I must admit that people believe it was done for the wrong reasons. We all know black culture informs American culture, but a cultural war sounds worse than it should be. While preparing for this video, I saw something interesting on X. This guy made this post saying, hot take, video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures about why being a white man is bad. This tweeter asked people to name some. Outside of bad examples like The Last of Us 2 and BioShock Infinite, people couldn't name one game that does this. Then, like a lightning bolt, it hit me. These people making videos about GamerGate are just grifters. Grift. They've seen people like Critical Drinker take off by opposing the woke agenda. I mean, I see you. Get your money, big dog. It is what it is. Grift. I just couldn't understand why y'all want to scare the hoes so bad and feed further into the narrative of neckbeard, basement-dwelling gamers. That's all anti-woke politics is. A tool meant to galvanize the weak-minded into fighting an imaginary war.
Are you grifting yet?
That's all I have, and remember, stay woke.